Good evening, and welcome to the RPI Players' performance of All the World's a Stage Cabaret. Please silence all cell phones and other electronic devices. Please be aware that the use of flash photography is strictly prohibited throughout the performance. In the unlikely event of an emergency, the exits are to the front right and rear of the theater. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Fields of flower, join us, leave your cheese to sour. Join us, come and waste an hour or two. Doodly-doo, journey to a spottic, exciting, mystic and exotic. Journey through our anecdotic review. We've got magic to do, just for you. We've got miracle plays to play. We've got parts to perform, hearts to warm, kings and things to take by storm as we go along our way. Hey.
Intrigue, plots to bring disaster. Humor, handled by a master. Romance, sex presented pastorally.
Illusion, fantasy to study. Battles, barbarous and bloody.
Join us, sit where everybody can see.
We've got magic to do, just for you. We've got miracle plays to play. We've got parts to perform, hearts to warm, kings and things to take by storm as we go along our way.
Hello, everyone, both here and at home. Welcome to the All the World's a Stage Cabaret. Thank you for joining us for a night of Shakespeare and song. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy, because we have got some magic to do, just for you.
We've got magic to do, just for you. We've got miracle plays to play. We've got parts to perform, hearts to warm, kings and things to take by storm as we go along. We've got magic to do, magic to do, magic to do, magic to play. We've got magic to do, just for you as we go along.
If we offend, it is with our goodwill. And you should think we come not to offend, but with goodwill. To show our simple skill, that is the true beginning of our end. Consider then we come but in despite. We do not come as minded to test you, our true intent is. All for your delight we are not here. That should here repent you, the actors are at hand, and by their show, you shall know all you are like to know. Gentles, pretend you wonder at this show. Well, wonder on, but truth make all things plain. This man is Pyramus, if you would know. This beauteous lady, Thisbe, is certain. This man with lime and rough cast doth present wall, that vile wall which did these lovers sunder. And through wall's chink, poor souls, they are content to whisper, at the which let no man wonder. This man, with lanthorn, dog, and bush of thorn, presenteth moonshine. For, if you will know, by moonshine did these lovers think no scorn to meet at Ninus' tomb, there to woo. This grisly beast, which lion hight by name, the trusty Thisbe come first by night, did scare away, or rather, did affright. And, as she fled, her mantle she did fall, which lion vile with bloody mouth did stain. Anon, come Pyramus, sweet youth and tall, and find this trusty Thisbe's mantle slain. Whereat, with his blade, with his bloody, blameful blade, he bravely broached his boiling, bloody breast. And Thisbe, tearing in mulberry shade, his dagger drew, and died. For all the rest, let lion, moonshine, wall, and lovers twain at large discourse while here they do remain.
Oh then, I see Queen Mab hath been with you. She is the fairy's midwife, and she comes in shape no bigger than an agate stone on the forefinger of an alderman, drawn with a team of little atomies athwart men's noses as they lie asleep. Her wagon spokes made of long spider's legs to cover the wings of grasshoppers. The traces of the smallest watery beams. Her whip, a cricket's bone, the lash of film. Her wagoner, a small gray-coated nap, not so big as a round little worm pricked from the lazy finger of a maid. Her chariot is an empty hazelnut made by the joiner squirrel or old grub, time of mind of the fairy's coachmakers. And in this state she gallops night by night through lovers' brains, and then they dream of love, over a courtier's knees that dream on curtsy straight, over a lawyer's fingers who straight dream on fees, over a lady's lips who straight on kisses dream, which oft the angry mad with blisters plagues, because their breath with sweetmeats tainted are. Sometimes she gallops over a courtier's nose, then dreams he of smelling out a soup. And sometimes she comes with a tithe pig's tail, tickling a parson's nose as he lies asleep, then dreams he of another benefice. Sometimes she driveth over a soldier's neck, and then dreams he of cutting foreign throats, of breeches, ambuscados, Spanish blades, of helps 5 fathom deep, and then anon drums in his ear, at which he starts and wakes, and being thus frightened, swears a prayer or two, and sleeps again. This is that very mad that plats the manes of horses in the night, and bakes the elf-fox in foul sluttish hairs, which, once entangled, much misfortune bodes. This is the hag when maids lie on their backs that presses them, and learns them first to bear, making them women of good carriage. This is she.
If there's a prize for rotten judgment, I guess I've already won that. No man is worth the aggravation That's ancient history. Been there, done that. Oh no. Oh, no chance and no way. I won't say it, no, no. It's too cliche. I won't say I'm in love. I thought my heart had learned its lesson. It feels so good when you start out. My head is screaming, get a grip, girl. Unless you're dying to cry your heart out. Oh, oh. Oh no. Oh, no chance, no way. I won't say it, no, no. This scene won't play. I won't say I'm in love. Look way off base. I won't say it. Get off my case. I won't say it. Oh, at least out loud, I won't say I'm in love.
The more my wrong, the more his spite appears. What? Did he marry me to famish me? Beggars that come unto my father's door upon entreaty have a present alms. If not, elsewhere they meet with charity. But I, who never knew how to entreat, nor never needed that I should entreat, am starved for me, giddy for lack of sleep, with oaths kept waking and with brawling fed. And that which spites me more than all these wants is that he does it under name of perfect love. As who should say if I should sleep or eat? 'Twere deadly sickness or else present death. I prithee, go get me some repast. I care not what, so be it wholesome food.
You are three men of sin, whom destiny that hath to instrument this lower world and what is in it, the never fated sea hath cast about you. And on this island where man doth not inhabit, you amongst men being most unfit to live, I have made you mad, and even with such like valor men hang and drown their proper selves. Oh, you fools! I and my fellows are ministers of fate. The elements of whom your swords are tempered may as well wound the loud winds, or with their mocked-at stabs kill the still closing waters, as diminish one down that's in my plume. My fellow ministers are like invulnerable. If you could hurt your swords, are now too massy for your strength, and cannot be uplifted. But remember, for that is my business to you, that you three from Milan did supplant good Prospero, exposed unto the sea which hath requited him and his innocent child. For which foul deed, the powers, delaying, not forgetting, have incensed the seas and shores, yea, all the creatures against your peace. Thee of thy son Alonso, they have bereft, and do pronounce by me lingering perdition worse than any death can be at once, shall step by step attend you in your ways. Now, whose wrath to guard you, from which here in this most desolate isle,
else falls upon your heads, is nothing but heart sorrow and a clear life ensuing.
O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or, if that will not, but be sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet. 'Tis but by thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name! What's in a name? That which we call a rose, why any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself.
Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since? And wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely? From this time such I account thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same as thine own act in valor as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have, wouldst thou esteem the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not when upon I would, like the poor cat of the adage?
Prithee, peace. I dare do all that may become a man, who dares do more is none.
What beast was it then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man. Oh, to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. No time, no place did that adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now does unmake you. I have given suck, and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from its boneless gums and dashed its brains out, had I so sworn as you have done to this.
If you could look at me once more, with all the love you felt before, if you and I could disappear into the past and find that love we knew, I'd never take my eyes away from you. When I look never really knew you from the start. Did I create a dream? Was he a fantasy? Even a memory is paradise for all the fools like me. Now remembering is all that I can do, because I miss him so. When I look at you.
My mistress with a monster is in love. Near to her close and consecrated bower, while she was in her dull and sleeping hour, a crew of patches, rude mechanicals who worked for bread upon convenient stalls, were met together to rehearse a play intended for great Theseus' nuptial day. The shallow, thick skin of that barren sort, who Pyramus presented in their sport, forsook his scene and entered into a break, when I did him a disadvantage take, and as his knoll I fixed on his head. Anon, his Thisbe must be answered, and forth my mimic comes. They him spy, as wild geese that the creeping fowler eye, or russet peated chops many in sort, rising and cawing at the gun's report, sever themselves, and madly sweep the sky. So at his sight, away his fellows fly, and at our stamp here o'er and o'er one falls, he murder cries, and help from Athens calls. Their sense thus weak lost, with their fears thus strong, made senseless things begin to do them wrong. For briars and thorns at their apparel snatch, some sleeves, some hats, from yielders all things catch. I led them on in this distracted fear, and left sweet Pyramus translated there, when, in that moment, so it came to pass, to Tanya wait and straightway loved an ass!
If by your art, my dearest father, you have put the waters in this roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea, mounting to the welkin's cheek, dashes the fires out. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel who had, no doubt, some noble creature within her, dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth or air, it should the good ship so have swallowed in the frightening souls within her.
Oh, my lord! Oh, my lord, I have been so affrighted. My lord, as I was sewing in my closet, Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all unbraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled, ungartered and down guyver to his ankle, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking against each other, and with a look so piteous in purport, as if he had been loosed out of hell to speak of horrors, he comes before me. My lord, I do not know, but I truly do fear it. He took me by the wrist and held me hard, and then he goes to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face, as if to draw it. Long stayed he so, at last a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head waving up and down, he raised a sigh so piteous and
profound, as it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go, and with his head over his shoulders turned, he seemed to find his way without his eyes, for out of doors he went without their help, and to the last lended their light on me.
Is this a dagger I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Are thou not, fatal vision, as sensible to feeling as to sight, or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation proceeding from a heat-oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshalledst me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else with all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade in dudgeon gouts of blood which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now o'er the one half world's nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder, alarummed by his son of the wolf, whose howls his watch thus with his stealthy pace. With Tarquin's ravishing strides towards his design moves like a ghost. Thou shore and firm set earth, hear not my steps which way they walk, for fear thy very stones prate of my whereabouts, and take the present horror from the time which now suits with it. Whiles I threat, he lives, words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done, the bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven, or to hell.
What have I done, sweet Jesus, what have I done? Become a thief in the night, become a dog on the run, and have I fallen so far, and is the hour so late, that nothing remains but the cry of my hate, the cry in the dark that nobody hears? Here I stand at the turning of the years. If there's another way to go, I missed it 20 long years ago. My life was a war that could never be won. They gave me a number and murdered Valjean when they chained me and left me for dead. A mouthful of bread. Yet why did I allow that man to touch my soul and teach me love? He treated me like any other. He gave me his trust. He called me brother. My life he claims for God above. Can such things be? For I have grown to hate the world, this world that always hated me. Take an eye for an eye, turn your heart into stone. This is all I have lived for. This is all I have known. A word from him and I'll be back, beneath the lash upon the rack. Instead he offered me my freedom. I feel my pain inside me like a knife. He told me that I have a soul, How does he know what spirit comes to move my life? Is there another way to go? I am reaching, but I fall, and the night is closing in as I stare into the void, to the whirlpool of my sin. I'll escape now from the world of Jean Valjean. Jean Valjean is nothing now, another story must begin.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I have come to bury Caesar, not praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is often turned with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus hath told you Caesar was ambitious. If it were so, it was a grievous fault. And grievously hath Caesar answered it. Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honorable man, so are they all honorable men, come I to speak in Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me. But Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. He hath brought many captives home to Rome, whose ransoms did the general coffers fill. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? When that the poor have cried, Caesar hath wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. You all did see that on the Lupercal I thrice presented him a kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Was this ambition? Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and sure, he is an honorable man. I speak not to disprove what Brutus spoke, but here I am to speak what I do know. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withholds you then to mourn for him? O judgment, thou art fled to brutish beasts, and men have lost their reason! Bear with me. My heart is in the coffin, there with Caesar! And I must pause till it come back to me.
Lo, she is one in this confederacy. Now I perceive that they have conjoined all three to fashion this false sport in spite of me. Injurious Hermia, most ungrateful maid, have you conspired? Nay, have you contrived to bait me with this foul derision? Have all the sisters' vows, all the hours spent within the chaste-footed time for parting us, oh, is it all forgot? We, Hermia, like two artificial gods, have with our needles both created one flower, both on one sampler, sitting on one cushion of two birds, both warbling one song, both in one key, as if our hands, our sides, our voices, and minds had been incorporate. So we grow together, like a double cherry seeming parted, but yet in union in partition, two lovely berries molded onto one stem. The two first like colts and heralding, do but one with crowned in one crest. And will you rent our ancient love asunder to join with men in scorning your poor friend? Tis not maidenly. Our sex as well as I might chide you for it, though I alone will feel the injury. Too deep, don't dream all day, dive into work, drive the other way, that drip of hurt, that pint of shame, goes away, just play the game. You're living in America at the end of the millennia. You're living in America, leave your conscience at the tone. And when you're living in America at the end of the millennia, you're what you own.
The filmmaker cannot see,
and the songwriter cannot hear.
Yet I see me everywhere.
Angels' voices in my ear.
Just tighten those shoulders.
Just clench your jaw till you frown.
Just don't let go,
or you may drown. We're living in America at the end of the millennia. We're living in America, where it's like the Twilight Zone. And when you're living in America at the end of the millennia, you're what you own. So I own not a notion, I escape and make content. I don't own emotion, I rent. What was it about that night? Connection in an isolating age. For once the shadows gave way to light. For once I didn't disengage. Angel, I hear you, I hear it, I see it, my fill.
I hear it, my song.
Alexi,
One
Mark,
song
call me a hypocrite.
glory.
I need to finish my own
In
film.
your
I
eyes.
quit dying in America at the end of the millennia. We're dying in America, coming to our own. And when you're dying in America at the end of the millennia, you're not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them. To die, to sleep, no more. And by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep, perchance, to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of the office, and the spurns that the patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would these fardels bear? To grunt and sweat under a wearied life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others we know not of. Thus, conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment with this regard their currents turn awry and lose the name of action.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players.
They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time might play many parts, his acts being 7 ages.
At first the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms.
And then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school.
And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard.
Jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth.
And then the justice, in fair round belly with good cabin lined, with eyes severe and beard formal cut, and full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part.
The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side.
His youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank.
And his big manly voice turning again toward childish trouble, pipes and whistles in his sound.
Last scene of all that ends this strange eventful history
His second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.